Welcome to our channel, Book by Book.
We're so glad you're here.
Today we are starting what I think is a really crucial summary. It's about that feeling, you know the one, where you feel like you are just constantly busy,
All the time.
perpetually working, putting in the hours, but somehow at the end of the week, you're not actually closer to your big goals.
You're just spinning your wheels, frantic motion, but no real progress. And that exact feeling is right at the heart of the book we're breaking down today.
It is. We're looking at Thibaut Meurisse's strategic mindset, a 7-day plan to identify what matters and create a strategy that works.
This came out in 2023, and it's really a guide to, completely re-engineering how you think about work and success.
A complete overhaul is the right way to put it. The book's big promise is to take you from that state of busy to a state of being impactful.
And to do it in just a week.
Exactly. It's not about finding more time. It's about getting absolute clarity on what you should be doing with the time you have. And maybe more importantly, what you should stop doing.
And that gets us right to the book's central argument, the philosophy behind everything. Meurisse is just crystal clear on this. Productivity is not about how many tasks you complete.
Right. It's a meaningless metric.
Totally. True productivity, what he calls strategic productivity, is only about moving closer to your meaningful goals. He even argues that being chronically busy is often a cover for, and this is his phrase, laziness in thinking.
Oof. That's a tough one, but it really hits home, doesn't it?
It does.
We fill our days with easy stuff, answering emails, scheduling meetings,
Yeah.
because it feels productive and it doesn't require deep thought.
It gives you that little dopamine hit of checking a box. But the real work, the hard work, is thinking strategically and deciding what to ignore.
Precisely. And this is where we have to understand a foundational concept he introduces right away. It's this distinction between two words we use all the time, efficiency and effectiveness.
And they're not the same thing. Not at all.
Not even close. We chase efficiency our whole lives, right?
Yeah.
Trying to do things faster, do them better.
Doing things right. That's efficiency. Can I answer 50 emails in 30 minutes with perfect grammar? That's being efficient.
But effectiveness, that's about doing the right things. It asks a totally different question. It asks, should I even be touching those 50 emails right now?
Or should my entire focus for the next 30 minutes be on that one single phone call that could land a huge client?
That's the game changer. And strategic productivity is 100% about the latter. It's about getting maximum results with the minimum amount of wasted effort.
Because if you're doing the wrong thing perfectly, you're just getting to the wrong destination faster.
Yeah. And this matters so much to you, to everyone listening, because the bottleneck today isn't really time anymore. We all get 24 hours.
The real scarce resources are focus, energy, and that strategic clarity. This book is the blueprint for how to stop wasting those and start directing them with purpose.
Okay, so let's dig in. Where does the 7-day plan actually start?
It starts with planning, with defining the destination.
So if the problem is that we're running around without a finish line, it makes sense that the first part of the book is all about setting one.
Exactly. The 7-day framework is very logical. Dies 1, 2, and 3 are dedicated entirely to planning and figuring out your leverage before you even think about doing the work.
Right. You have to aim before you can shoot. So lesson 1 is called Plan with Purpose Crafting Your Timeline.
Yeah, and it's that step that so many of us skip because we're impatient to get started, but you can't hit a target you haven't defined.
So how does he break it down? Day 1.
Day 1 is what he calls the year map. This is the big picture, the 30,000-foot view, and it's not about making a huge list of resolutions.
Okay, so what is it about?
It's about defining value. You have to ask yourself one question. What would make the next 12 months truly valuable? Not just busy, not just okay, but valuable.
Moving away from vague stuff like get in shape.
Exactly. That's a useless goal for planning. A valuable outcome is something like run a half marathon by October. Because now you can see the path. That requires running 3 times a week, strength training, and so on.
And for a business, instead of grow the business.
It would be something concrete, like generate $500,000 in new recurring revenue. That's a target. You can build a strategy around that.
Okay, so you have this clear, valuable outcome for the year. That's day 1. What happens on day 2?
Day 2 is where the magic really starts. This is where he introduces the core tool of the entire book. The domino concept.
We've all heard of the domino effect, but this sounds more specific.
It is. He's asking you to find the first domino, The one big, heavy domino that if you manage to knock it over will trigger a cascade that makes all the other steps easier or even automatic.
So it's not just a list of 10 things you can do.
No, it's the opposite of that. It's about radical focus. You have to find the one thing. So for that $500,000 revenue goal, what's the domino?
It could be hiring a world-class salesperson.
Could be. Or it could be securing one massive, famous client that gives you instant credibility. You have to analyze the options and pick the one with the most leverage.
I see. So if you pick that testimonial client as your domino, getting them isn't just one task checked off.
Right. It does so much more. It validates your product. It gives you social proof. It probably shortens your sales cycle with every other client from then on.
It creates its own momentum.
It builds a system. That's the difference between a high-leverage domino and a low-leverage task, like write 5 blog posts. The blog posts require constant effort for small results. The domino, that big client, requires a huge upfront push, but the benefits compound over time.
Okay, so you have the year map. You've identified your single domino move. What's day 3? How do you connect that big idea to, what you're doing on a Tuesday?
That's the 90-day sprint. Day 3 is all about bridging that gap. You take your annual goal and your domino move, and you break it down into a tangible, actionable plan for the next quarter.
So it makes it less overwhelming.
Much less. If your domino is land that huge client, your 90-day sprint is the tactical plan. Weeks 1 to 4, identify and research the top 10 targets. Weeks 5 to 8, personalized outreach. Weeks 9 to 12, negotiate and close.
Suddenly the huge goal feels achievable.
Yes. The book uses a great analogy for this. Building a house. The year plan is your set of blueprints.
Okay.
The foundation you pour, that's your critical domino move. And the first section of the house you build, the first set of walls you put up, that's your 90-day sprint.
And without the blueprints and foundation, you're
just piling up bricks, you're working hard, you're moving a lot of material, but you're not actually building anything.
That makes so much sense. And this all ties into another lesson in the book, Lesson 6, which is about the principles behind this.
Exactly. Dominoes, compounding, and focus. This lesson is all about the mindset required to stick with the plan you just made.
And Meurisse is, he's pretty intense about focus.
He is. He has this amazing quote, "Focus acts like an axe. If you try to cut down a tree by hitting it in thousands of different spots, you'll never succeed."
Your energy has to be concentrated.
It has to be, which means strategy is an act of saying no. It's about restriction. He says, a good strategy must narrow your options. It must allow you to develop laser-sharp focus.
That is so hard for people to accept, isn't it? We're taught to keep our options open, to not put all our eggs in one basket.
But that's just a recipe for mediocrity. If you have 10 options on the table, you have no strategy. You have a wish list. Choosing that one domino is how you commit.
And the payoff for that commitment is the compounding momentum.
Yes, because your effort starts building on itself. Every action you take related to that domino makes the next action easier. You build skills, you build reputation, you build assets. It's not linear, it's exponential.
It's the difference between digging one deep well or 10 shallow holes.
A perfect way to put it. Only one of those is going to get you water.
Okay, so the first 3 days are all about building this really solid foundation. You know your destination, you know your highest leverage move. Now what?
Now the book pivots. It moves from planning to execution. How do you operate on a daily basis to make sure you're actually moving forward? This brings us to lessons 2 and 3.
And lesson 2 gets right back to that idea we talked about at the beginning. It's be effective, not just efficient.
Exactly. This is about fighting the daily trap of busy work. Because even with a great plan, our default is still to just fill the day with activity.
To work harder, not smarter.
Right. So to combat that, Meurisse gives us a very practical tool for day 4. It's the 7-step evaluation process.
A filter.
A filter for every single task that comes your way. Before you start anything, you have to run it through these questions.
Okay, let's break these down because this seems incredibly useful. What are the first few questions?
The first ones are about alignment. Number 1, what's the single highest impact task today? And number 2, follow-up. Does this task directly align with my 90-day sprint and my year map?
And if the answer to that second one is no,
You have to discard it or delay it immediately. No negotiation.
brutal, but necessary. What's next?
The next questions are about leverage. Can I delegate this? This one is huge. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. If it's not a task for your peak genius, it needs to go to someone else.
Even if it costs money.
Especially if it costs money. Your peak focus time is your most valuable asset. Then question 4 is, should I delay it until a low energy block or eliminate it entirely.
I think there are more than 4, though. What else is on that list?
There are. The next one brings you back to your core strategy. What is the necessary next step on my domino move? It forces you to always come back to the main thing.
Keeps you honest.
Very. Then a great one. What is the worst case scenario if I skip this task? And you find that so often the answer is absolutely nothing.
Huh. Yeah, revealing it was just busy work all along.
And the last one is an anti-perfectionism filter. Is there a faster, less complex way to achieve 80% of the result?
Wow. Okay, so let's put this into practice. A real-life example.
Sure. Let's say your day is full of internal meetings, but you have a massive, complex proposal to write. That proposal is your domino move.
The efficient person goes to all the meetings, answers all their emails perfectly, and then is totally exhausted by 4 p.m. when they finally try to start the proposal.
Exactly. They were very efficient at low-impact tasks. The effective person, the strategic producer, looks at that day and makes hard choices.
They reschedule 3 of those meetings.
They send a quick, good enough email instead of a perfectly crafted one, and they block out 9 a.m. to noon, their peak time, and do nothing but work on that high-impact proposal.
So they might feel less busy.
They will, but their actual impact on the goal will be 100 times greater. It's choosing the high-impact, difficult thing over the easy, comfortable, busy work.
That's the real discipline. Okay, so that's filtering our actions. What about filtering our thinking? That's lesson 3, right?
Yes, day 5. Think, smart, ask better questions. Merisse's point here is that when we get stuck, it's usually not because we aren't trying hard enough, it's because we're asking the wrong questions.
We're trying to solve the problem from within the same set of assumptions that created it.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So he says you have to pause and ask bold, sometimes uncomfortable questions to break out of that, to challenge the very foundation of your strategy.
Can you give us some examples of these smart questions?
Absolutely. A great one is to stop asking, how can I do this? And start asking, what's the absolute fastest way to reach my goal? That question forces you to think about leverage, not just effort.
I like that.
My personal favorite is the lazy success question. He says you should ask, if I were lazy and still succeeded, what would I do?
That's brilliant because it forces you to find the path of least resistance. It cuts through all the noise about hustle and grinding.
It makes you look for shortcuts, for automation, for leverage. If I'm lazy but I want to launch a product, I'm not going to spend a year building it in a basement.
No, you're going to find someone who already has the audience you need and give them a huge piece of the pie to promote it for you.
Exactly. One strategic move instead of 1,000 hours of work.
What are some of the other questions?
There's modeling success. Who has done this before? And how exactly did they solve this problem? Don't reinvent the wheel. And then there's challenging scale. If I needed to serve 100,000 customers tomorrow, what part of my current process would break immediately?
Wow. That one forces you to build systems that can grow from day one.
Right. And the book gives a great example with content. Instead of asking, how can I write more articles?
Which is a quantity question.
A quantity question. The smart question is, what if I wrote only one masterpiece article and spent all the rest of my time getting it in front of the right people?
Shifting from production to distribution, from effort to leverage.
That's it. Your mind is like a GPS. If you put in the wrong destination, the wrong question, it doesn't matter how fast you're going, you'll never get where you really want to be.
Okay, so we've got the plan, we've got the filters for our daily actions and our thinking. But, a great strategy is useless if you burn out in 2 weeks.
And that's exactly what the final 2 lessons are about. It's sustainability. How do you maintain this high level of strategic performance over the long haul?
So this is where learning and energy come in. Let's start with lesson 4, which is for day 6.
Right, and it's a huge one for a lot of people listening. Learn, effectively do more than study.
The classic analysis paralysis.
The ultimate energy trap. We are swimming in information books, courses, podcasts. And Merisse's point is that learning without immediate action is just a very sophisticated form of procrastination.
That's a hard truth. We use learning to feel productive while avoiding the scary work of actually doing the thing.
We do. So he gives us a core rule, and it's a bit jarring. Do more, learn less. Which isn't to say don't learn. It's about shifting the balance.
Away from endless consumption and toward application.
Exactly. And to help us see where we're going wrong, he identifies 5 very common learning mistakes.
Okay, this is crucial. What's the first one?
First is overlearning. This is when you keep consuming information long after you've gotten the core, 80% of what you need. You've read 2 books on a topic, but you convince yourself you need to read 10 before you can start.
Right. And the second one is analysis paralysis, which we just mentioned. That's using research as an excuse to delay making a decision or taking the first step.
Then the third mistake is really interesting. It's the illusion of competence.
What does he mean by that?
It's when you understand a concept intellectually so you feel like you've mastered it. You watch a video on how to build a financial model and you think, got it.
But you've never actually opened Excel and tried to build one yourself.
Exactly.
Hmm.
True competence only comes from implementation, from making the mistakes and fixing them. Until then, the knowledge is just theory.
Okay, that makes sense. What's number 4?
The one we all know and hate. Shiny object syndrome.
Of course.
You commit to your domino move. Let's say it's mastering a certain platform. But then you see an article about a new trendy platform and you drop everything to chase that. It kills your momentum.
It constantly resets your progress to 0. And the last mistake.
The fifth is poor planning. You actually do the learning, you take the course, but you never schedule the time to apply what you learned. The new skill just sits in your brain unused.
So the fix is to immediately block time in your calendar. If you learn a new technique on Monday, you schedule 2 hours on Wednesday to actually use it.
Yes, the analogy here is perfect. Knowledge is like fuel for a car, but if you never actually start the engine and drive, if you don't implement, you're just sitting in the driveway with a full tank going nowhere.
Okay, so that handles the learning side. The final lesson on day 7 is about our physical and mental resources.
It is. Lesson 5. Manage your energy, maximize impact, not hours. And this might be the most important piece for long-term success. He says time management is irrelevant if your energy is mismanaged.
Productivity follows your energy, not your calendar. I love that.
It's so true. And to do this, you have to first understand your own rhythms. He calls this the energy segmentation model.
So tracking when you're at your best.
Exactly. You need to identify your peak hours. Those 1, 2, maybe 3 hours a day when you are sharp, creative, and focused. For a lot of people, that's first thing in the morning.
And once you know those peak hours,
You guard them with your life. This is strategic scheduling. That time is reserved exclusively for your most important, high-impact, domino-related work. No exceptions.
and all the low-energy stuff, answering emails, administrative tasks, that gets pushed to the afternoon troughs.
Right, you're matching the task's energy demand to your own energy supply. It's just smart.
Okay, but let me push back on this a little.
Okay.
This sounds great if you're an entrepreneur or a CEO.
Yeah.
What about someone in a big company with a rigid schedule and back-to-back mandatory meetings?
That's a fair and critical question, and the book addresses it. The argument isn't that everyone has total control, but that everyone has some control, and you have to find and claim it.
So what would that look like?
Well, first, if your peak time is 7 to 8 a.m. and work starts at 9, you have to own that hour. You get up earlier and you do your most important work before anyone else is even online.
Okay.
Second, you have to start negotiating. Can you push back on a recurring meeting that has no agenda? Can you block out a no meetings afternoon once a week? The point is to stop accepting the default schedule and start advocating for the time you need to do your best work.
So it's about being proactive and setting boundaries.
Absolutely. And part of that is also recognizing the critical importance of rest. You can't just push, push, push. He talks about alternating between push mode, which is deep work, and pull mode, which is recharge.
So scheduling breaks isn't a sign of weakness, it's a strategic move.
It's a strategic investment. A 30-minute walk without your phone isn't you slacking off. It's what allows you to come back and do another 90 minutes of high-quality work. It's the sprinter's mindset. Strategic bursts, followed by strategic rest.
It's about working with your biology, not fighting against it.
That's the key to making this whole system sustainable.
Okay, so we've gone through the entire 7-day plan, day by day. It's a really logical progression, from big picture planning down to daily execution. Let's take a moment to just pull it all together and recap the core philosophy.
I think at its heart, the entire strategic mindset philosophy is about replacing the metric of activity with the metric of impact.
Right. It's not about how busy you were, it's about what you moved forward.
And the official definition of strategic productivity from the book is worth repeating. Using your time so you achieve maximum results with minimum effort.
And that minimum effort part isn't about being lazy. It's about being smart. It's efficiency gained by choosing the right things to do in the first place.
Exactly. And it's so important to remember the sequence of the 7-day plan. You can't just pick and choose. It has to flow.
It moves from planning, that's days 1 to 3,
Your year map, your domino, your 90-day sprint.
then to strategy, days 4 and 5.
Applying the effectiveness filter to your tasks and asking those smart questions to guide your thinking.
And finally to action and sustainability on days 6 and 7.
which is all about applying what you learn and managing your energy. You have to define the target before you start running.
And to help you do all this, the book gives you a few key frameworks, kind of like mental tools you can use every day.
Yeah. The most important one, the central one, is the domino concept. That's your primary lens. If you ever feel lost or overwhelmed, the first question to ask is, am I still focusing my energy on the main domino?
That one question can probably solve 90% of your problem.
I think so. Then you have the protective framework, which is the learning mistakes list.
This is your diagnostic tool.
It is. If you feel like you're learning a lot but not seeing results, you just run down that list of 5 mistakes over learning, analysis paralysis, and so on, and you'll find the culprit.
It's a way to self-correct.
Yeah.
And the last big tool.
That's the energy segmentation model. That's the practical tool for scheduling. It's a reminder to stop thinking about your day as a block of 8 equal hours and start seeing it as peaks and troughs of energy.
And you allocate your most important work to those peaks.
Always, you give your best self to your biggest problems.
You know, there are a few quotes from the book that I think just perfectly summarize this entire shift in mindset.
Let's hear them.
The first one gets to the core contrast. Productivity isn't about doing things right. It's about doing the right things that move you closer to your goals.
And that leads to the next one, which defines who we're trying to become. The strategic producer does the right things while the average person seeks to do things right.
It's a choice, a deliberate choice you make every single day.
And this one is about the discipline required. A good strategy must narrow your options. It must allow you to develop laser-sharp focus.
And finally, the key to sustainability. Use your peak time for your highest impact work. Your productivity follows your energy, not your calendar.
I think if you just internalize those few ideas, you're already halfway there. It really is an entire architecture for how to think and how to work.
Right, theory is great, but we want everyone listening to be able to put this into practice immediately, like today.
Absolutely. The beauty of this book is how actionable it is. So we've pulled out 10 specific tips that you can start using this week to make that shift from busy to strategic.
Let's jump right in. Tip number 1 comes straight from day 1.
Tip 1 is for vision. Spend just 30 minutes mapping out your one-year vision. Ask yourself what would make this year truly valuable and write down a few concrete outcomes.
Okay, good start. Then, from day 2, we get tip 2 for leverage. Identify and commit to one high-leverage domino move. What is that one single action that will make everything else easier? Name it.
And then we move into daily practice. Tip 3 is for daily focus. Every single morning, ask yourself, if I can do only one thing today, what will it be? And that one thing has to be related to your domino.
I love that. And for our thinking, from day 5, we have tip 4 on thinking. Create a short list of 5 smart questions for your main goal.
Make sure you include that lazy success question, and then just try to answer one of those questions each day. It'll open up new possibilities.
Next, to avoid the learning traps from day 6, tip 5 on learning. Choose one skill you've learned recently and schedule time this week to actually apply it.
Don't just let it sit there. Turn that knowledge into action.
Exactly. Now for energy from day 7. Tip 6 is for energy. For the next 3 days, just track your energy levels hour by hour. Find your peak time and then schedule your top task for that time block.
And tied to that, tip 7 is about rest. Schedule a 30-minute rest pool period every single day. A real break, no screens, no tasks. Treat it like a mandatory meeting with yourself.
That's a great way to think about it. Okay, now for cleaning house. Tip 8 is elimination. Ask yourself, what is one task I'm doing just out of habit that doesn't actually move the needle?
Find it and then drop it, delegate it, or just drastically simplify it. Be ruthless.
And to make sure you're on track, tip 9 is reflection. At the end of the week, take 15 minutes to reflect. Don't just list what you did. Ask, what domino fell? What real momentum did I build?
Measure your effectiveness, not your effort. And finally, the one that holds it all together. Tip 10 is guard your focus. Protect your focus like it's your most valuable possession, because it is.
Turn off the notifications, put on the headphones, and treat your deep work blocks as sacred.
We'd really encourage you to just pick 3 of these. Don't try to do all 10 at once. Just pick 3 and start today. You will feel the difference almost immediately.
So at the end of the day, what Thibaut Meurisse has given us in Strategic Mindset is really a full architecture for achieving our goals.
It's so much more than a collection of productivity hacks. It's a blueprint that really demands you change the way you think.
You have to choose strategy before speed.
And leverage before pure effort.
Right. And I think the core message The thing to really take away is that if you're feeling constantly busy and overwhelmed, the problem isn't you. It's not a moral failing.
No, it's a systems problem. It's a lack of clarity and a lack of leverage. You don't need more hours in the day. You need more focus in the hours you have.
Plan your purpose, find your domino, ask smarter questions. If you do just those things, you'll start to build that unstoppable momentum the book talks about.
You really will.
So, as we wrap up, here's a final, provocative thought for you to take with you, inspired by the book's emphasis on challenging your own assumptions.
Oh, I like this.
Imagine this. What if you knew, with 100% certainty, that your current plan for your biggest goal was going to completely fail in the next 90 days? What one drastic, bold action would you take today to pivot?
Wow.
Let the answer to that question inform what your next domino move really should be.
That's powerful. We really hope this summary helps you get those maximum results with minimum wasted effort.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Book by Book. We really encourage you to subscribe to this channel for more helpful book summaries like this one. And if you found it valuable, please share it with others and like it. It really does motivate our team to keep bringing you the best book summaries we can find. We appreciate your support.